What's going on, guys? It's GBP baby. Welcome back to another video. I hope everybody's doing well and I hope everybody's had a good weekend. And yeah, let's get straight into things. Before we get onto the economic calendar, I do want to bring our attention to the world news. As I'm sure you're aware, there's a lot of things going on in the Middle East which are likely going to be reflected in the charts this week. So we do need to be very careful. We can expect a lot of volatility based off all of this, and obviously anything can happen at any time. But yeah, I just wanted to start with that because when we have big events such as these happening over the weekend, I can only imagine that Monday, or running it straight into the week, we're going to see some kind of intense movement or possibly quite complicated delivery in general. But anyway, we've got Monday, high impact news, retail sales, and then Tuesday we have building permits, with Thursday jobless claims. So we do have quite a lot of news this week. It'll be interesting to see how Monday acts. I wouldn't be surprised if straight off the bat we saw a movement on the Monday to set off the week. The fact we don't have news on Wednesday, we might find consolidation around that point. And then of course Thursday we have high impact news that will likely run into the Friday. So that's pretty much all the news we have going on. All of them at 8:30, by the way, 8:30 London time, 8:30 New York time, 1:30 in London. So those are the times we're going to be expecting to see a lot of movement and volatility. So yeah, we're going to start on the dollar as per usual. Let's just get that up for us. Like so. I am starting on the monthly, and you can see how bullish this month has been already. So there's a few monthly levels I want to bring our attention to first. We have rejection level right here. This is a rejection block level. So this is my immediate target for price, and then of course we have the swing highs above that price may also want to draw to. But first, this is a monthly rejection block level, so I'll just get that marked out. And then we also have monthly highs right here. So these are the targets in terms of buy side, which I'm expecting us to carry on pushing into. Another thing to take note of is that we've traded through this fair value gap now, which would make it an inversion fair value gap, meaning that if we are to ever retrace back to this level, it should provide support. I'm not going to keep this on the chart as of now because I do believe we're way past that. What I will do is I will make one line just so that we have it for reference, and I'll just put inversion fair value gap high, just so we know in case price does decide to go down there that we can expect some kind of resistance at that level. But I'm not expecting that to be happening this week. Let's just make sure we know that it's a monthly. Cool. So now let's go to the weekly, and the first thing we need to do is figure out, are we expecting an up close week or a down close week? Now, obviously, based off last week with this kind of expansion and displacement to the upside, I'd like to think that the following week will also be an up close week. So with that in mind, we're expecting most of the week to be delivered between Tuesday and Thursday, with the low ideally made on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. Now, considering we have high impact news on Monday, I wouldn't be surprised if Monday saw us rally first, and then we saw a low get made later on in the week, maybe on the Wednesday. I don't want to get too specific as of yet, understandably, but we do need to get a few levels marked out that we can refer to as price is trading this week. So what happened last week? Well, we've traded through this bearish order block. So you can see we've taken out the high, just about. So the fact that we've traded through this bearish order block, well, first of all, it's showing that we're disrespecting bearish PD arrays, showing bullishness, but it also means that we can use this bearish order block's midpoint as a level of support. So let's just get that drawn out. The midpoint's right here, lining up with that inversion monthly fair value gap, and I'm going to mark that out in red. And I'm going to write weekly inversion order block, I like to call it. Now this is the very lowest I'd expect price to trade in the new week, and the reason for that is because, as far as I'm concerned, the fact that we've taken out this order block's high, it should now not act as a bullish order block necessarily, but the levels in it, such as the midpoint and the closing off it, should provide a level of support for price. So I'm not expecting price to necessarily come all the way down here, but if it does, this is the very lowest I'd expect it to go, or allow it to go. But as we drop down to the lower time frames, you'll see that there's going to be other PD arrays we can refer to help frame and key off of for us to try and reach our monthly rejection block targets and our monthly high targets. So let's now go to the daily, and you'll see that we have traded through this volume imbalance right here. So let's get that drawn out, and I'm going to make this red as well. And the fact that we've traded through it on the upside, I'd like to think that this will provide support. So although I have this level marked out, preferably this is the level where the low gets created for the week. So I'm definitely going to keep an eye on this level. Definitely keep an eye on this level. As price comes down into here, I'd expect a reversal to form at this point. Like I said, Monday might not do it. Monday may very well just carry on higher, but Tuesday or Wednesday could. And then if that's the case, then I'd expect this to provide support to propel price higher into our rejection block levels. So I hope that will make sense. Another thing I want to bring our attention to is this massive volume imbalance right here. I do believe price is drawing to this quite quickly. So I'm going to draw this out in blue, like so. And let me just write daily volume in liquidity void. Because you can see there's no trading that happened between this open and this close. And the fact that that's there, price is likely going to draw to it because it's in a premium area. So that's what I'm moving into Monday and Tuesday. That's what I'm expecting price to draw straight to. So I'm not expecting too much downwards price action in general. We might not even see this level get traded to. And if that's the case, that's fine. But overall, I'm expecting us to draw into this liquidity void before I'm expecting any kind of reversal or retracement. We are going to go to the 4 hour. And you'll see how we closed, quite a weird closing. And obviously we have no idea, guys, we have no idea where Sunday is going to open. And we need to understand that, especially with the events that have happened on Sunday. So I don't want to speak too much on this, and I don't want you guys to go into the charts with some kind of expectation of anything. But overall, my draw on liquidity is up here. Moving into Monday and Tuesday, I'd like to be bullish, thinking that we can reach up there, and then obviously bearish on the pairs. In terms of retracement, if we are to retrace straight away, let's say we open lower, I'd like to think that this will provide the support we need. But remember, I am allowing us to get down here. However, I highly doubt that's going to happen if price is going to continue trading on higher. So I'm not in a position to figure out the entire week, but overall, what I'm watching is for price to get to this daily liquidity void. And then after that, I'll reassess and say, okay, is price going to continue higher? Or are we likely to see some kind of midweek reversal and get some kind of pullback? So that's pretty much all I'm watching in price. Very simple. There again, that massive liquidity void, price should seek to fill that. It should seek to try and get that filled in. And then, like I said, it could reverse. So you very well may find that we trade into that level at maybe 8:30 and then we get a reversal off of it. So definitely keep an eye on this level, but I'm not expecting any kind of downwards price action, or don't really want to see any kind of downwards price action until this is traded to as our first point of contact, so to speak. So yeah, I'm not going to bother go to the 1 hour. There's not enough data for us this week to go off of, and you can see we've just been completely, price is really expanding right now, so it's clearly reaching for some kind of target, and I do believe this liquidity void is it before we see any kind of significant breakout. Now don't get me wrong, we could go for the monthly highs, but because of how much of a consolidation is over here, I do believe that this liquidity void that we do see on the daily will be enough to slow price down, so to speak, and bring it back into some level of consolidation. So yeah, overall, I'm watching up here, and I'd like to think that this level can provide support, assuming we do trade down into that. Hope that will make sense. Now let's head over to Euro and GBP. We'll start with GBP, of course. And I'm going to start on the monthly on GBP. And you'll see how much of a crazy down day we've had last week. So now we're clearly trading into this massive monthly fair value gap. So what am I watching? I'm watching this level right here, this order block. I want to see, can price now reach this level, because this is the bullish order block that's created the move, and I'm expecting price to attempt to fill this massive fair value gap. So we can actually draw out this fair value gap, and you'll see where we are. We're just about to hit the midpoint of it. But generally speaking, I'd assuming dollar's going to continue to show the strength it's showing, I'm expecting to see us try and fill this fair value gap. So let's go down to the weekly, and you'll see a beautiful break to the downside, running out sell stops, and we've actually closed below this low, which was very nice. How did we close on a low? It looks like we closed on the low. Yeah, we did. So that's again a signal of very bearish price action. In terms of levels to key off of, I am looking at this range here, so this high and this low between here and here. I would like to think that if price retraces back into this range, it's going to provide resistance. To be honest, I doubt it's even going to reach up here. But when we drop down to once we drop down to the lower time frames, I'd like to think that we'll find some kind of PD arrays that we can use to try and frame price. So what I'm going to do, just to make things interesting, is let's just mark out the quarter levels of this and see what PD arrays line up with this on the lower time frames that price may want to refer to. So we've got this level in blue, this level in red, and then I'm not even going to bother up there because I doubt price is going to get past the midpoint. We'll make this dashed, and then as we go to the low time frames, hopefully we'll find something that price could key off of. But overall, remember, this high here is that monthly order block high. So if or when price does get down there, we expect a large reaction off of that level, and that's completely fine. So now we can drop down to the daily. Again, crazy down day on Friday. You can see how we're kind of making our way through this consolidation. Now, as you can see on the way up, so let me just zoom out a little bit. You can see, okay. So as we're climbing to get up to this point, we accumulated here, accumulated here, accumulated here. We keep seeing price, retrace to push up. These points of accumulation, and I'm calling it accumulation because it was on the buy side of this curve. These points of accumulation, we assume we're going to see distribution in. So where they're accumulating, for example, here as we came down into this fair value gap, we assume that as we're delivering on the downside, it's going to come back to distribute into that area, which is supportive of our idea of seeing price come back up to either this blue level, this red level, or this 50% level. Preferably, we only trade to the blue level at very highest, because I'd expect, some kind of retracement above the midnight opening or Sunday opening. That's going to allow us to enter some kind of shorting positions to start heading for this swing low right here. So I hope that all makes sense. But like I said, with all the things going on in the world, who knows where we're going to open. But here you can see how we've closed, wicks below here. That's interesting that we've got a wick here on the 4 hour but not on the daily. But anyway, yeah, we're just gonna have to wait and see. But generally speaking, as soon as price trades above the Monday opening, I'd expect to be looking for shorts or some kind of shorting opportunity. It's possible we may trade into this fair value gap right here, and like I said, I'd like to think that this 50% level will be like the highest we see price trade early in the week before entering targeting this south side liquidity fall. So yeah, it's really just a waiting game. You can see there's a nice order block that's formed there, but I wouldn't be surprised if that continued to provide resistance. And like I said, with everything that's going on and the fact we have high impact news and whatnot, I wouldn't be surprised if prices completely fell out of bed, as in like traded through Asia range and just continued falling lower. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened, and then we see the low of the week get made like pretty early on. So that's something to consider. But overall, I'm bearish, and any kind of, like I said, as soon as we trade above that midnight open, we should be looking for shorts, because we're clearly in a selling program. Do excuse me, guys. I hope this is all making sense. But to be honest, we'll probably have a much better idea of price once Monday trades. I don't think I'm going to be trading Monday just because of all the stuff that's happened over the weekend, etc. But I'd like to think that we can continue to see us trade lower, obviously, as dollar starts to creep on higher, so it can try and reach into that liquidity void it has up here that I do believe it's really seeking to try and fill. So that's everything on pound. Has pound got high impact news? We've got unemployment rate on the 16th, so that's Tuesday. So that's something to take note of. But like I said, after Monday, obviously I'll drop a Monday review tomorrow. We can have a better look at price. We'll have some kind of price action to key off of, and then we can figure out what's likely to happen on the Tuesday. But generally speaking, I'm expecting some kind of down close week. So any kind of rallying, I'd be thinking it's a manipulation for us to be hunting for shorting positions until we take out this low. This is one thing you need to understand. Yes, like I'm expecting a down close week, and yes, I want to see a rally before we go lower. But if we say trade straight lower first and grab this liquidity for this trade into this pool of liquidity, then and only then can I be okay with trading some kind of retracement or reversal. But until then, any kind of rally, I believe it will be a false rally until we get down here. So definitely got my eyes on this level, and until that's traded to, I'm not thinking about any kind of longs on the pairs, and I don't think you guys should be either. Anyway, let's go to Euro USD. We'll start on the monthly here as well. Very heavily down, and then similar to dollar, we do have a rejection block level over here, so let's get that marked out as our primary target. And then obviously we have the lows as well, but I doubt we're going to reach those lows anytime soon, if at all. So this is a rejection block level. I'll just write out rejection, monthly rejection. And then let's now head down to the weekly, and then hopefully we can find some levels to key off of. So similarly, we got a bullish order block here, and you can see we traded through that and closed below it on a daily basis right here. So now I'm looking at the wick of it. Why not the whole range? Well, the wick is a gap too, so to speak. So really, I only need to pay attention to the wick. We could use the whole range of the order block, but I'm going to use the wick because there's an order block within the wick, technically speaking, because obviously there's down and upside delivery there. So let's draw that out, and I'd like to think that this is going to provide us the resistance we need to send price lower towards that rejection block level. So let's make this red, and as we drop down to the low time frames, I'm going to do the same thing I did on pound. We should be looking for levels to key off of for us to hunt for, expect lower prices. So let's make that dashed like so, and I'm going to write daily bearish wick. Like so. And then obviously there's that monthly rejection block level we want to see price draw down into. So now we can go to the daily. Beautiful delivery, close below that level. This is what I mean. There's an order block within that wick. So here you can see them. And obviously on the low time frames that will be more clear. But I'd like to think that these can provide resistance for price. So like I said, any type of rallying before we reach that monthly rejection block, I'm happy to be looking for shorts within that. So any type of trading above midnight, I'll be thinking, okay, what kind of setups are likely forming for expectation to trade lower. We do have a nice daily fair value gap here. Price may trade and fill that. So let's get that sorted. Like so. So price may simply fill this, not even reach the monthly rejection block, and then we'll see some kind of potential turnaround or retracement. But like I said, we really just have to wait, let Monday trade, and hopefully then we can have a better idea of where price is likely to draw to. So let's head down to the 4 hour. You can see how we're kind of just consolidating a little bit. What I'd like to see as we enter Monday is we wick above these relative equal highs, touch that level I was talking about, and then off of that we can look for shorts with the expectation to fill this nice massive daily fair value gap we have. On the 4 hour, you can see the fair value gap extends down to here. There is a slight break by the looks of things. Yep, last up close candle before the down move lines up nicely with that breaker, so we might find a nice reaction off of that. But overall, I'm expecting a push down into here. Now, I'm not expecting London to do much. What tends to happen with Mondays is, especially with news, after studying, I've noticed that London may likely consolidate, especially on the Monday, and then we won't see big movement until New York and running into London close, especially with the high impact news. So that's something to consider. Definitely wouldn't be rushing in there in the London session, or expecting any kind of solid setups. And yeah, just got to be careful in general, to be honest. Here we are again, and when I see price on the hourly like this, it does suggest to me that we might not even see price return to this level. We might see price just fall, again, like what I was saying on dollar, just fall straight out of bed and trade down, fill the fair value gap, and then we'll start to make a higher climb for the week. So that is something to consider, guys. And don't be surprised if it does that. I wouldn't be surprised if price just started trading lower straight away, because it very well could. And as that's doing that, obviously we'd be seeing dollar trade higher straight away to try and get to its target. So there's all sorts of things that can go on. Going to be an interesting week to say the least. But overall, I'd like to think that we can see an up close week on dollar, even though I can imagine there'll be a lot of back and forth throughout. So yeah, hope everyone's safe. Hope everyone enjoyed the video. Don't forget to hit like, drop a comment, smash subscribe. Again, welcome to all my new subscribers. And on Sundays, I do back testing every single Sunday at 4 p.m. London. I've done that today. Thank you to those that showed up. I know you guys learned a lot. Yeah, and that's everything. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace. What's going on, guys? It's GBP baby. Welcome back to another video. I hope everybody's doing well, and I do advise you to go and watch yesterday's video if you have not already, because I will not be going through all the markings I already have on my screen, such as these monthly rejection block levels. So yeah, let's get straight into things. We're going to start on the dollar, on daily of course, and you can see how we had a nice up close day, just as anticipated, closing above Friday. You can see we're starting to press up towards that daily liquidity void, and you'll also see that we managed to find support on this level, which I brought our attention to yesterday. So what is this level? This is a volume imbalance, and you'll see that we traded through it and closed quite high above it on Friday. So I was looking at this level now to provide support to send price higher, and that's exactly what we saw happen today. So let's drop down to the 4 hour, and you'll see how price made its way down lower, respecting that 50% level before expanding on the news release, which was also nice to see. It was quite consolidated in terms of the delivery. You can see there's a lot of wicks, but I'm not really surprised. And yeah, let's drop down to the 1 hour, and you'll see I've got my daily dividers, and now I'm just watching this bullish order block to see can it provide support. So again, here's these levels. We came down, respecting this bullish order block. We didn't quite take out that low, which was interesting. But moving into the new day, I do believe that dollar is still going to attempt to try and press on higher to reach this target of this daily liquidity void up here. What I am going to do is I'm going to draw out this whole order block right here. I'm going to make it black, and I want to see, can this provide support? So I'm watching the 50% level and this range in general. I want to see if it can provide support, and if it does, moving into the new day, so let's say we stay above this level, I'd be happy to expect more longs on dollar with the expectation to short on the pairs. But other than that, let's say if this just does give way, if this gives way, then and only then would I expect us to run for Monday's lows and start heading for these fair value gaps down here. But like I said, preferably I'd like to think that this can provide the support price needs to send it one more leg higher before we see any kind of reversal or retracement or consolidation at a higher point, because generally speaking, I do believe price is attempting to try and get up here. So it'd be nice to see if it can do that tomorrow. Let's go to the 15-minute. And you'll see how we're just consolidating, and we're likely going to stay in this consolidation moving into the Asia range. You see we also gapped higher on the news. We gapped higher, ran out these stops right here. This is also a significant level now if we look at this high, because I do believe this is where we see the change in state of delivery in terms of, we were bearish until this point, and then we broke higher, closing above it, and I do believe this should be quite a sensitive level. So let's make that orange. And I'm going to be paying close attention to this. This is the lowest I want to see price trade before we trade up there. After we trade up there, it's a whole different story, and price can do what it wants. But moving into Tuesday, that's what I want to see. And then and only then would I expect to potentially see lower prices. So that's everything. That's my expectations on dollar. Hopefully a nice setup will form. You'll see a nice setup formed here, creating the low at 7 a.m. and then large expansion, pullback into a fair value gap for potential longs. But let's now head on to GBP USD. We'll start on the daily, like so. And these red lines here are delineating levels I did bring our attention to in yesterday's video. So again, go and watch that if you have not already. And then I'm also bringing our attention to this blue line. This blue line is the 25% level of Monday's wick right there. This is the highest I want to see price trade before sending price lower to try and reach towards its sell side liquidity. Now, this does look like quite a stretch for price. I'm not sure if it's going to get all the way down there. We do have this wick range as well that we can trade into. But generally speaking, obviously, if I'm wanting higher dollar, I want to see some kind of lower pound. So that's why I have this marked out as a potential draw. If we drop down to the 4 hour, you'll see price, how it swung around that 50% level off the range I draw our attention to. And then since then I've traded lower. What you'll notice is we haven't taken out this low, but euro has taken out that low, and I do believe dollar's taken out the equivalent high. So it does look like pound may have some catching up to do, and we may see that with the unemployment rate at 2 a.m. So definitely something to consider. If we drop down to the 1 hour, you'll see that this blue level lines up with this bearish order block. Again, we should be seeing bearish PD arrays support price in terms of showing resistance to price. So I'm watching this bearish order block the same way I'm watching that bullish order block on dollar. I want to see, can it provide resistance and help us send price lower to run for these lows here and then down here. So there are two targets in general that I want to see pound trade into before seeing any kind of reversal, consolidation or retracement. So hope that all makes sense. Let's go to the 15-minute. You can see we're just kind of consolidating at this level, but generally speaking, price shouldn't need to come back above here if we're going to be heading lower. If it does, so be it. I would see that as a shift in market if we took out this high, and then and only then would I expect these two highs to get ran, so Monday's high. But I don't believe that will happen so long as this high stays intact. But I do believe these relative equal highs that formed today after Monday's high, I do believe this may get targeted on Wednesday, but we'll speak about that later in the week. So that's everything on pound. I hope that all makes sense. But generally speaking, I'd like to think that we can see some kind of Judas swing, maybe during Asia or just in the start of London, for us to look for shorting opportunities to run for this sell side liquidity here and potentially here, depending on how overzealous price wants to get. One thing I will bring our attention to as well, just because price may not want to get all the way down there, is the 50% level of these wicks. So that's going to be consequent encroachment. Let's get that drawn out real quick. The midpoint of this wick, because like I said, because this low is such a far target for price, it's very well that price may stop in its tracks at the 50% level of that wick, which is completely fine. Let's see if there's anything on the 4 hour there. Another wick. So these are a few levels that we can keep an eye out on if price does start delivering to the downside, because we might find that we find a reversal here or whatnot. So just something to keep an eye on. Let's now finish up on Euro USD. I do already have some markings out, so let's just get rid of these. We'll go to the daily. And again, if you watched yesterday's video, you'll know I brought our attention to this weekly bearish wick I was talking about. There's a bearish range here. Definitely go and watch that if you haven't already. You can see we tapped into that just as anticipated, and what happened? We got resistance. That's what we wanted to see. Took out Friday's low, nice to see again. And then we have this massive daily fair value gap that I would like to think will get filled moving into the new day. So that's my target for price in that sense. I am looking at the range of this low, well, pretty much Monday's trading in general, to be honest. And the 25% level of that, I am watching that for price to turn around at as well. So let's just get a few levels marked out. We've got this level. And the reason I'm bringing our attention to these levels is because if you drop down to the lower time frames, you'll find that there is PD arrays that price should key off of to send price lower ultimately. So we will take a closer look. Let's go to the 4 hour. And you'll see our price. Look at how volume respected that range absolutely beautifully. You can see we wicked up a couple of times and then started pushing lower and eventually took out that low. Great price action there. Let's go to the 1 hour. And again, same as dollar, we've got this massive bearish order block. Now we need to see, can it provide resistance? Same thing, I want to see this. If price creates a Judas swing, I want to see it trade higher into the range of this bearish order block, and then use that to key off after send price down towards that daily fair value gap I want to see get filled. Another thing I'm watching as well is this bullish order block right here. I'm seeing this kind of like a breaker. We've got a low, a high, a lower low. So I'm watching this again for price to key off as a level to send price lower. That's going to be the highest I want to see price trade for me to say bearish. When I say these levels, like the highest I want to see it go, I mean, if price respects this level and we see some kind of break on the lower time frames, I'm happy to go short. But if price say trades through it, I'd probably be expecting these highs to get ran and, you know, more bullish price action, because as far as I'm concerned, price shouldn't need to trade back through this level if we are to remain bearish. Once we do fill this range, it will be another story. We'll be waiting for some kind of potential midweek reversal or consolidation. But until then, I do want to see us try and fill this fair value gap as dollar presses higher towards that volume imbalance I was talking about. So I hope that all makes sense, guys. Don't forget to smash the subscribe button, hit like, drop a comment, and join the Discord. I am active in there, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace. What's going on, guys? It's GBP baby. Welcome back to another video. I hope everybody's doing well, and yeah, let's get straight into things. So hopefully you've watched yesterday's video. If not, I highly suggest you go and watch that. But we're going to start on the dollar daily, of course, and you can see that price is doing just as we're anticipating, and we finally reached that daily liquidity void as we were anticipating. So it's nice to see that our original target for the buy side has been reached, and now we can start thinking about a potential reversal happening or a run towards some kind of sell side target. But yeah, you can see we expanded higher on the news release, and then you can also see we traded down into Friday's high as well, which was nice to see price come off of. So let's go down to the 4-hour, and you'll remember if you watched yesterday's video, I brought our attention to this level, and you can see our price used that level to send price higher. So just as anticipated, came down, price accumulated stops below this low, and then of course traded higher. Now don't get me wrong, although price is doing what we anticipated, today's price action is very ugly in general, so that is something to consider. And this week in general has been quite ugly so far, so moving into the rest of the week I am a bit cautious. But when we do eventually get the reversal for the week, because I do believe this is just a simple manipulation, when we do get the reversal, I do think price will loosen up, so to speak. So here's the 1 hour. If you remember, I brought our attention to this bullish order block. You can see our price came down. Look at the volume. Can't make that stuff up. Volumes respecting the 50% level. Yes, we wicked below it and traded into that orange level, but overall price turned at that level just as anticipated and has since been trading higher. Now you'll see that we wicked higher and then came down, came back down again into this order block, and you know, price is still slowly pressing higher. So moving into the new day, to be honest, I am expecting us to run this high. I would like to think that we can do that, so I will just get that marked out for us like so. And then remember, this is a daily liquidity void, so it'd be nice to see if price can fill it. But overall, tomorrow I am expecting some kind of reversal, or you know, some turn in the market to potentially occur, because we've been pressing higher since Monday, as you can see, and then we have relatively equal lows below here that I do believe price is going to seek to get. But if you've been watching my videos, you know I was saying I don't want to think about any kind of shorting until we reach this level. Now we have reached it because we reached it today, meaning that there is a possibility that price could turn before we get up here. But generally speaking, I'd like to think that through Asia and moving into London, we'll continue to press higher and then create the high tomorrow within this range to then start looking for potential sell-offs. So here's a 15-minute, and this is what I mean by very ugly price action. You can see a lot of black and green candles up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. Loads of back and forth price action. So very heavily consolidated, not ideal at all. But generally speaking, I'd like to think it would loosen up after Wednesday and we can start seeing some more, you know, flowing price action. But yeah, this isn't the ideal day, definitely not. But with everything that's going on in the world, we can't really be too surprised. So yeah, nice to see that price came and respected our levels and we've reached our target on the buy side. Now let's see, can we trade deeper into that target and then potentially call a reversal? Let's now head on to GBP USD. We'll start here on the daily. And you'll see that GBP traded to the 25% level off Monday's trading, just what I called out. Now we didn't trade to it exactly, that's completely fine, but price did react off it how we wanted it. So it reacted bearishly, and you'll see we traded lower and actually closed below Friday's low, which is nice to see, and wicked lower. Now it wasn't as much of a bearish day as I anticipated, but you can see we are starting to push lower. So moving into tomorrow, I am watching to see, can we start to reach the south side liquidity pool that I've had my eyes set on for a while, and or this consequent encroachment. Now there is a high impact news inflation rate on pound tomorrow, so we may actually see a lot of movement, but that's something to consider. Let's go to the 4 hour, and you can see our price is continuing to respect bearish PD arrays. Now what do I mean by that? We have a bearish order block right here. You can see we traded into that today and then price traded away. Here is that blue level I marked out and brought our attention to yesterday, so it's nice to see that price is continuing to respect that level. Here on the 1 hour, you'll see that we did actually take out this high. I wasn't expecting to, but the fact that we took that out and have now traded lower and taken out this low is saying that price should, you know, these are all signatures for me to suggest that price should continue to try and trade lower. So I am watching, moving into the London session tomorrow to see, can we get more lower prices and potentially reach that liquidity target down here. But again, not the best price action today, a lot of back and forth price action, but what can you do? Very interesting here though, you can see we traded into this fair value gap, right into that, and then came out of it and traded lower. Let's go to the 15-minute, take a look at that, and you can see we're just in a very tight consolidation right now, not ideal. So I hope that will make sense. Let's finish up on Euro. This is a very quick video, guys. Again, if you haven't watched yesterday's video, go and watch that because you'll understand everything I'm bringing our attention to. Now, Euro traded higher and did start to press down into that daily fair value gap I was saying I wanted to see get traded to. So yeah, again, same as pound. I just want to see continued expansion in towards this. Let me just get rid of these real quick. And now I'd be watching the 50% level. Actually, this is a range in itself. We have an implied fair value gap now, right here. I'm now watching this to provide resistance for price. So this 50% level, so long as price stays below that, as in if we create some kind of swing, I'd expect lower prices. Now, don't get me wrong, if we do create the low of the week, then obviously there's going to be a reversal, but I'm not happy with this yet. Like, I do think Tuesday's low is going to get grabbed, and then we may see some kind of turnaround, but I don't want to call the market too far right now. We'll go to the 1 hour, and you'll see how price has been stabbing its way down. We did come up, run out these stops, again, creating relative equal highs with the volume. I brought our attention to this level yesterday. You can see how we traded in that and turned at that point perfectly. But overall, I want to see moving into tomorrow, can we start to dig deeper into this daily fair value gap? So yeah, that's going to be pretty much everything. Very consolidated environments, guys, not the best conditions. So definitely low risks if you are trading. But hopefully we do start to see a little bit more movement as we move towards the end of the week. And yeah, so any comments, make sure to drop them below. Don't forget to smash subscribe. Join me in the Discord, I am active there. And yeah, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace. What's going on, guys? It's GBP, baby. Welcome back to another video. It's currently 10:45 p.m. in London. And yeah, we're going to get straight into things. Hopefully you watched yesterday's video. If you haven't, go and watch that. And if you haven't watched yesterday's video, watch Monday's video. And if you haven't watched Monday's video, go and watch Sunday's video, and so forth. But yeah, we had a down day, just as we like to see. Now, we didn't quite trade into the daily liquidity void like I anticipated. I was thinking we were going to trade into it and then turn around. But it turns out price failed to take out Tuesday's high and simply just traded lower, showing a level of weakness, which is fine, as we were expecting a reversal around this time of the week. So that's nice to see. And yeah, I do believe we're going to start seeing expansion for the rest of the week, start to try to deliver to some kind of sell side target. Now, the most obvious sell side PD array that we have to trade towards is this fair value gap right here. I'll just draw this out for us. So we have this fair value gap right here. I'd like to see us start to trade into. And yeah, pretty much moving into the new day, I'm looking for us to trade down into this. I want to, any kind of trading above opening, I'd want to be looking for shorting opportunities. I will be looking at yesterday's low as a price to key off. But generally speaking, we can actually use this range for price act as resistance. So let's make this black. And if I just draw out the midpoint of that, that midpoint is now going to delineate the highest I want to see price trade if we are to remain bearish. To be honest, even that is quite a stretch. I'd like to think we can probably just trade to the 25% of that level at the most. But when we drop down to low time frames, we should be able to find some PD arrays to key off of. So on the 4 hour, you'll see we had displacement today. Now this is the kind of displacement I like to see, for me to now know that price is likely going to want to run out these Monday lows and start trying to fill this liquidity, this fair value gap. So again, moving into tomorrow, I'd like to think that we can continue to see low prices and start hunting for sell stops. This is a pretty typical sell model right here. We've got a high, a low, a high, a high. So we may want to draw out this low as a potential shorting opportunity. So if price does retrace into this range, this is certainly going to be the level I want to be shorting at for us to then send price lower into this fair value gap. So let's now go to the 1 hour, and you'll see our price delivered today. Please, apologies for all the marking outs. Let's make it a little bit cleaner. This was that order block I drew our attention to yesterday, and you saw we found support. I draw our attention to it again today, and I was saying if this gives way, then we're bearish, and you can see we've traded outside of that now. So what are we? We should be bearish. So yeah, like I said, I'd like to think that price can trade back up to here one more time before trading lower, but it doesn't really have to do that. And what I mean by that is that depending on how weak price is, we very well could just move into the new day trading lower. My target for price, just below this bullish order block right here, would be nice. I'd like to think that there's sell stops below there. So let's just get sell side liquidity drawn out like so. And yeah, in terms of opportunities, let's go to the 15-minute. You'll see that we have a high here. Now this could be an engineered high. If that's an engineered high, then it will be classic, very classic for price to trade higher, run out the stops above it, and then target that sell side liquidity target I just drew our attention to. So it should be a pretty easy going day tomorrow. When I say easy, I mean like, basic in terms of delivery. We do have high impact news, I believe, tomorrow, and there is an imbalance right here. Let's drag that out. And this is the reason I do believe price doesn't have to come up to this yellow level. So let me just get technical with you guys. So there's an imbalance here, and we've now traded and closed below it on the downside. And you can see how we're consolidating at that level now. So moving into the new day, if this is acting how it's supposed to, realistically, we shouldn't see price trade back above it. Yes, we traded above it here, but again, we're at the very lows of it. So let's say moving into the new day, we are below it, then I'd expect it to act as resistance to push price lower. If we're like above it in the new day, then I'd still be watching this level to see how we treat it. But preferably, I'd like to think that this can provide enough resistance to send price lower. If that's the case, any opportunity above the midnight, so wherever we open at midnight, any opportunity when price trades above it, I'll be hunting for shorts on dollar with longs on the pairs, expecting lower prices and this south side target down here. So I hope that all makes sense, guys. Should be a pretty decent day tomorrow. Nothing too complicated, but remember, price can trade up to this yellow level, but preferably we do start the day either below it or at it. So yeah, that's just something to take note of. Hope that will make sense. Let's now go to pound. We'll start on the daily, and I have a lot of levels on here. Again, if you haven't watched yesterday's video, go and watch it, because I will not be explaining everything. But if we're expecting lower dollar, that obviously means we should be expecting higher pound. So what kind of higher targets do we see on pound? Well, first of all, if you remember at the beginning of the week, I drew attention to this weekly range. I'll show you what range it is real quick. This high and this low. And you'll see how we've now closed inside of that range. So realistically, now that we're in this range, I'd like to see this low off it to provide support. It's unlikely we're going to run for these sell stops now, I believe, if we're going to be seeing lower dollar. Remember, this is assuming we want lower dollar. So if that's the case, we can get rid of these for now and assume that that Tuesday was the low of the week. That would be classic price action. If it is, that's completely fine. And we do have high impact news on pound again tomorrow. So in terms of targets, we have a daily fair value gap right here. So price may seek to try and trade into that. And then obviously we have the open off this bullish order block, but you can see that lines up perfectly with this level. So let's drop down to the 4 hour. And you'll see not the best price action this week so far, a lot of back and forth price action. And you'll see how pound, yeah, we traded higher, but it also retraced very deeply. Now, I don't like that particularly when we trade that deeply lower. So we do have to be quite mindful of that. We do technically have a breaker, low, high, lower, low, then price is broken to the upside. But you'll see it's failed the breaker because we came back down here. So this is kind of throwing me off. That's why I'm being a little bit cautious with pound. We've got to see how we trade. If price carries on pressing higher, moving into the new day, I'm happy to be long, expecting a run into that fair value gap and potentially above this buy side liquidity pool right here. Let's just get that marked out like so. So that's a potential. Another thing to take note of is if we look at the Sunday opening price, which was here, you'll see how we're consolidating at that level. And like I said, if price respects this moving into the new day, so we don't trade back below it again, then it's likely that we should then start seeing higher prices get targeted. So we're going to dash this line real quick. I'll make it a little bit thinner for us, just so that we know we have the Sunday opening price right here, and just show that we are above it right now. So I'd like to see it provide support. But on the 15-minute, you'll see we came. Look at that. You can't make that stuff up. So again, I'm just watching. I'm going to be looking at the Asia range to say, okay, did we stay above this level, and are we seeing continued support? If that's the case, then we should see a nice setup for long in positions to run into that fair value gap on the daily up here, and remember that buy side target I was talking about up here, which would be pretty nice. So that's my expectations moving into tomorrow. But yeah, this will be a classic day, so to speak, because this is a Persian Reaver example as well. And what I mean by that is if this is the low of the day, if this is the low of the week, and we've now taken out Tuesday's high, which we've done today, then we should then, by default, be expecting Monday's high to get round. That's just a rule of price in general, but obviously we'll see how that delivers. But we do really have to see. And the only thing that's keeping me bullish as well is when you see how much higher and how much more bullish euro's performing, you'll see why we should see the same in pound and should see continued support. So definitely keep an eye on this buy side liquidity, and again, definitely keep an eye on this range and look at how we stay above that midnight opening price, that Sunday opening price, because like I said, so long as we're above it, we should realistically be able to think about potential buys. Finally, let's finish up on Euro USD. We'll start on the daily there as well. And you'll see we did trade back down into this one more time. We didn't trade as deep as I wanted. But again, the fact that we're failing to even get volume in here, and we're respecting 50% level, and then traded aggressively high like this, that's displacement to the upside to me. So where am I expecting price to trade to? Well, we have a fair value gap here to carry on finishing. So obviously up to here. but I'm also watching this low. So more realistically, or more ideally, I'd like to see price trade into this low. Let's make this yellow as a target. And then we'll drop down to the low time frames to try and find some more supports for price. So on the 4 hour, let's get rid of this massive black box. You'll see we have a breaker, low, high, lower low. Wow, technically there, and then we traded higher. So now I'm looking at this last up close candle to provide any kind of support. So I will draw out the high, and this is going to be where I'm expecting to find long in opportunities on euro. Let's get rid of this real quick. Let's go to the 1 hour, and you'll see there's a fair value gap down there as well. So again, we're looking at this as a breaker. Technically there's a breaker here, low, high, lower low, and then we've delivered to the upside. But I'm watching this swing high specifically purely because we have a more significant swing low with a clear run on. We've got low, high, lower low, and then since then price has traded higher. So that's why I'm watching this up close candle, this level right here, to potentially provide support. If that's the case, again, we should see an easy run into this swing high and start running up to these this consolidation up here. I'd like to think we could trade into. But yeah, again, same thing. As soon as price drops below that midnight open, we should be looking for potential long in opportunities. We have a fair value gap down here on the 1 hour. Let's look on the 15 minute. We have this low, similar to dollar with its high. Remember, I was saying on dollar, price doesn't have to take out its high, and I'll just show you what I mean. In fact, to make it more clear, let's just add it to the chart. So price on dollar, we want to see trade lower. So price doesn't have to take out this high on dollar before trading lower. It can just trade low, and that's fine. Same on euro. Price doesn't have to take out this low then trade higher. It could simply just trade higher. So it's just a matter of letting the Asian range trade, seeing where we are. If we're at a high premium and this low seems a bit like a far fetch, then we should simply just probably use Asia range highs or premium to be planning out a trade execution for longs to into our targets. However, if we're still consolidating in this range, price very well could dip down here, do a Judas swing, and then trade higher. So that's something I can't predict, guys, or be too accurate about, but that's what I'm going to be looking out for moving into the Thursday trading day. But I'd like to think this is engineered liquidity, but at the same time, price doesn't need to come down there. But ideally it does, because that will make a nice setup, to be honest. But we can only wait and see. So yeah, that's going to be everything, guys. I hope that all makes sense. Don't forget to drop a comment. I do still have some comments to reply to. I'll make sure to get back to those now. But yeah, join the Discord, follow me on Instagram, smash like, smash subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace. What's going on, guys? It's GBP, baby. Welcome back to another video. Hope everybody's doing well. And yeah, we're going to start on the dollar on Dixie. If you haven't watched yesterday's video, make sure to go watch that. And we're on the daily, as you can see, and we didn't actually trade and fill the fair value gap as much as I anticipated. The fact that we had high impact news today and we don't have any tomorrow, I'm not really expecting much to happen tomorrow. Preferably, we do stay within the range we've already created this week. So between this high and this low, I'm not really expecting price to trade anywhere outside of that. We do have a lot of high impact news moving into the new week, next week, and yeah, Friday doesn't have anything. So generally speaking, I'm not expecting much, so this video is going to be pretty short in general. You can see on the 4 hour we came down, grabbed those stops below these lows, which is what we wanted to see, but then you can see we aggressively reversed and started to trade higher back into this range. Now what you'll find is that we are actually technically in a breaker. We've got a high, a low, a higher high, and then you can see we've traded into that last down close candle. So I am going to be watching this. If price continues to respect this, then I'd be expecting lower prices, but we can speak more on that in Sunday's video. But moving into Friday, I'm probably not going to be trading. I can imagine there's probably just going to be a bit of consolidation, and yeah, I just doubt there's going to be any more highs or lows getting taken out for the week. Like, I do think we're pretty much finished. And yeah, here's the 1 hour, came down, created a nice low, and then expanded, and you can see how we just traded back into this consolidation where we're finding a lot of resistance. So it'll be interesting to see how price trades, but generally speaking, I don't really have any expectations. I will quickly show you something on the daily. What you'll find is that when we did trade up to this imbalance right here on the Tuesday, we haven't actually traded and filled it just yet. So technically speaking, price could work its way into this because there is still an imbalance there. However, like I said, considering that, there's no high impact news tomorrow, we have a lot of news next week, and we've had our last set of news today. I doubt we're going to see much. Preferably, we don't trade up there, because that would show a lot of bearishness on dollar, which is what I'm wanting to see, especially being in the month of April. But generally speaking, I think it's best we just wait until the Sunday review and the week's over for us to get a proper outlook on price. And one thing to note as well, if you join the Discord, I am going to be doing some live back testing on Sunday at 4 p.m. London time, so make sure to join that. Every week Sunday I am back testing on my Discord, so you can join that in the description below. And yeah, let's head over to GBP right now. We'll start on the daily. Now you'll notice that GBP has been consolidating pretty much the whole week. A lot of back and forth price action, as you can see, was stayed within a pretty tight range. As much as I've been wanting to see GBP trade into these lows, again, I'm not expecting much to happen on Friday. If we do see dollar start to expand higher, and we see it trades through this level, and we do start to work towards this imbalance, then GBP will obviously want to run for these lows, and that's completely fine. But preferably, as I was saying, we do just continue to consolidate. But I will mark out a few lows. There's these lows down here we need to keep an eye out on. Price, I want to go and grab those stops on GBP, but you can see we've just been consolidating all week. So there's not much for me to say, especially when you can clearly see we've been in this huge consolidation. Really not ideal price action. But again, when we come back next week, I'm sure there'll be a lot more going on. Finally, we can finish up on Euro USD. Now, Euro has been pressing higher. As you can see, Euro's made higher highs, whilst GBP hasn't. I'll quickly show you what I mean by that. So if you look at these highs from Monday the 15th, you'll see that GBP's failed to make higher highs, whereas Euro is pressing higher and dollar is pressing lower. So there is a level of strength we're seeing in Euro and weakness we're seeing in dollar, which is supportive of my expectations. But again, with us moving into Friday, I'm not expecting much. Ideally, no more lows get taken out. So I'm going to be watching the lows created on Tuesday. I'm going to be watching them very closely in hope that price doesn't want to tag those. There is obviously this fair value gap that we tapped into on the Tuesday low right here. However, price again doesn't need to fill it. It can, but I just feel like there's a lack of news and a lack of sentiment to drive price there. And like I said, with so much news going on next week, I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't. So yeah, overall, moving into tomorrow, I'm not really expecting much, but if there is going to be movement, we will simply probably try and fill this fair value gap on Euro, and then, like I said, dollar will likely try and trade back into this imbalance. But overall, we may fully just consolidate and not see much at all. So we need to be very considerate. So that's going to be everything, guys. Very short video. Make sure to join the Discord. Follow me on Instagram. Smash the like button. Smash the subscribe button. Drop a comment. And yeah, I'll catch you guys on Sunday. Peace.